It is the Big 98.1 Loves Our Kids Radiothon, presented by Acme, benefiting Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and the incredible Child Life team at CHOP. I've got with me right now Mollie and Anna. It's so good to see you guys in person. So to kind of pull the curtain back a little bit, each year I get a couple of different families that I get to talk to, and usually it's over Zoom or something like that. And it's always fun, but it's great to see everybody in person. I absolutely love to see your smiling faces. So why don't you guys, and maybe Mollie, you want to start, why don't you tell me your CHOP story?
Sure. So Anna was a few years ago, she was 10 years old, just finished fourth grade, normal, healthy, running around like everybody. And unfortunately, she just got really sick very quickly. And the pediatrician ended up sending us to the ER, our local ER. We're in central New Jersey. And they said, we have a very sick child here, which was pretty shocking. And she needs to be at a children's hospital. And so they actually flew us in a helicopter to CHOP, which was pretty scary. But when we got there were all kinds of people taking care of Anna. And I think she might pick up the story in a minute on the Child Life, because one of the first people that she remembers is Child Life. They were there, they were waiting, they knew we were coming off the helicopter. I will be honest, I had not heard of Child Life. I didn't know what that was, not having had kids in a medical setting, other than like your yearly checkups and the occasional sickness. And now I can't say enough wonderful things about Child Life, and it's just the best thing ever. But while the doctor needed to talk to me and kind of explain to me what was going on, and while he was doing that, and what we found is that she was in kidney failure. Her kidneys had failed. He said, and we need to figure out why this otherwise healthy child would suddenly go into kidney failure. And it turned out she has a very rare autoimmune disease called ANCA vasculitis, which caused this. But I will let Anna pick up with, while the doctor was talking to me, tell him about Marie.
All right, when I got off the helicopter, I was in the bed, I was rolling down. All these doctors were rushing around me, trying to keep me stable and physically healthy. And I was so scared, and then Mom had to go off and talk to the doctor. And then this child life specialist, Marie, came up to me, and she gave me a dog blanket and a squishy cow. And it just made me feel so much better. And she told me to squish the cow when it hurt, and she explained everything that was happening to me in kid-friendly terms, and told me they're just going to put you to sleep now. And she kept me calm. And I really didn't want Mom to leave and go talk to the doctor, but I totally forgot that I didn't want her to leave when Marie came over.
You're so well spoken. I think you could take my job. You want to do the rest of the radiothon? What do we have? We got like 4 more hours to go. You want to do it?
Sure.
Tell me about this dog blanket and this, because I want people who are listening, Anna, to see it. What color was it? Was it like a big fluffy blanket? Did it have like lots of fur on it? Tell me everything about the blanket.
Well, it was a blue blanket and had pictures of little bulldogs on it. They were in French berets and little French clothes, and they were in raincoats with jackets and top hats, and it was just so funny. And I looked at all the dogs, and it was a thinner blanket, but when you touched it, it was super fuzzy.
Do you still have the blanket today?
Oh, yeah, I do.
I bet you do. Tell me about this. What was it? It was a squishy cow? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Tell me about the squishy cow.
So it was like a little squishy cow. He was just sitting down, and he had these 2 horns, and he was white with a pink spot over his eye and some more pink spots on his body.
And that made you, those 2 things in that moment, you were doing something really scary. That moment, it made you feel a little bit better, took your mind off of things?
Oh, definitely.
That's what Child Life does, guys. 866-266-8898. It sounds like such a small thing, right? Here's a blanket and here's a squishy cow for you to hold on to. But in that moment, and I could see on Anna's face as she tells it, like it was such a big deal for her, and I can imagine it was such a big deal for Mom in that moment too. That's what your money goes to. You guys are providing that blanket. You're providing that squishy cow, and you're providing peace of mind and calm for a little girl going through something she should not ever have to go through, and for a mom who's terrified of what's going to happen to her child. And so please, 866-266-8898. Okay, Mom, tell me about Child Life and maybe something that sticks out to you.
So a couple of things that really strike me. There's so many to choose from, but Anna, you spoke about the family, and Anna has a younger brother, 3 years younger. He's 10 now, but he was 7 at the time. And when he came to the hospital, I can imagine it was a little scary for him. His sister is sick, and she's hooked up to all these things, and they are very close. I'm so fortunate that they get along, and they are each other's best friend. So it was hard for them to be apart as well, because she was in the hospital, for a few weeks. So they gave them each the same stuffed dog. So they said, at night, like when you're going to sleep and you miss your sister and you're at home, then you can squeeze the dog. And Anna, at night when, you're going to bed, you wish that mom was there reading you a story together like she usually does. But you know that she's thinking of you, and she knows that you're thinking of her, and you have these same dogs. And so that was really sweet. And I think the other thing is, you've been talking a lot about memories and the memories that we get to make with our kids when they're healthy. And luckily, Anna is healthy right now. She had a transplant. She's feeling wonderful. And those memories are, of course, your favorites. When your child is sick, there's going to be a lot of bad memories. You can't avoid that of painful things and difficult things. But child life makes sure that there's also good memories. That's the thing. They come in. I'll let Anna tell the splatter paint story if you want to next. But I'll tell that Music Mike, and you can elaborate. One of the therapists, they find out what your kid is interested in, right? And Anna and her brother both play percussion. And so Music Mike came in, and that is a happy memory for our family to look back on, and a time when we felt a little bit normal again.
866-266-8898. You want something tangible. $50 is what it costs for one music therapy session. And so you hear mom talking about that and how that was a memory that she recalls that was such a great memory. And you'll hear that, countless times over the next 4 plus hours of people who just in that moment, they wanted some music. They wanted to get their mind off of things. $50, you can make it happen. Really, it's just that simple, right? 866-266-8898. Okay, Anna, tell me about, what is it, splatter paint? Tell me the story.
So me and my brother were in the hospital. He was so sweet. My brother came every day to visit me while I was in the hospital. And eventually it got pretty boring because we were just sitting there and I was in the bed. I couldn't really get up without doctors helping me. And it was very boring. And then Marie, the child life specialist from the ER, she comes in and she has these syringes and these bottles of paint and these little cups and a big piece of paper and some tape. And me and my brother look at each other and we're just like, what's happening? What's about to happen? And she tapes this big piece of paper up to the wall, and she helps me get out of bed, and she tells me to dip the syringe in paint and then pull up so that it's full of paint. Then she says I can push the syringe to make the paint come out and splatter it at the wall on the paper.
No way.
And me and my brother did that for like an hour, and we just made this beautiful, well, really it was very messy, but I think it was a beautiful piece of art full of splatters, and it was so much fun to do. And it wasn't normal. Like, we wouldn't normally be spraying paints at the wall at home, so it was fun, something I wouldn't get to do normally.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you do that at home, we just moved a little while ago, and my now 11-year-old, she was 10 at the time, we're moving some things around, and we moved one of our couches, and on the wall, in marker, said, "Hi, Lennon." On the wall! I got to paint over that now. But when you're at CHOP, none of that matters, right? Because Child Life lets you be messy and lets you splatter that paint all you want.
Yeah.
That's the kind of place it is. 866-266-8898. Again, 866-266-8898. It is the Elkin Chevrolet Power Hour. And by the way, let's make some noise for Elkin Chevrolet. $3,000 donation. Thank you, Elkin Chevrolet, because it goes to Mollie and Anna so they can have the splatter paint memories, or the French Bulldog blanket, or the squishy cow, or whatever it is that puts a smile on the face of kids like Anna. Mollie, I wonder if you could talk to the moms listening right now as to why it's so important that they donate their money to this cause.
I think, as a mom, even when you see your friends' kids or someone else's kids in distress, there is an automatic response where you just want to help. And the thing is, when your child is sick, seriously sick, You can't fix it. And luckily, the CHOP people are amazing, and all the doctors and nurses are amazing. And then Child Life comes in and sort of makes this beautiful, like, symbiotic relationship between the medical care that's needed and the child and parent's ability to cope through something very difficult. And they've got your back, and they're saying, okay, look, this is hard. We know. We're not saying it's not hard. No splatter paint is going to fix this, but we've got your back. You're going to get through it. Things are going to get better. And in the meantime, we're going to make the most of any moment that we can. And so you want to do that for your own children, but I think people naturally, you want to do that for someone else's child. You can imagine that feeling, and it feels really good to give back. And I think too, that's part of why so many of us families want to come in here and speak on the radio, because we feel so passionately about how much it helped us and how our experience would have been so different and so much harder without this. And we want to know that the next kid and the next kid and the next kid is going to get this same relationship. And just sitting with the kids and talking about everything that's going on, and doing the fun things, but also doing the hard things where you're getting, like you said, somebody through an MRI or procedure that helping distract and split their focus of their mind. So anyway, sorry, that's a long answer.
Don't apologize.
To say that I think, as a mom, as a parent, you want to see that happen for any child that you can, and any part that you had in that can make you feel really good.
Definitely don't apologize about being passionate about child life. That's literally why we are all here today. It is for that exact reason. So thank you very much. Yeah, give her a round of applause. 866-266-8898. Okay, Anna, I'm going to ask you to do the same thing, all right? If there's somebody listening right now, why do you think it's so important that they call and donate to Child Life?
I think kids like me, kids in the hospital, we have a really rough time. It's very depressing. We're just there in that room. There's nothing to do. All these doctors are just coming and doing these procedures which are painful and uncomfortable. And Child Life is there to help you through that painful and uncomfortable procedures and make them less painful and less uncomfortable, even if it's not literally, mentally too, and emotionally. And then when you're all bored and the room is dull and it just feels like you're never going to get out, they're there with something fun to do, something to bring you together as a family. And I think that's really important. And they may not be completely contributing to your medical health, but I don't know how I would have made it through my hospital stay without Child Life.
Anna, how old are you?
I'm 13.
I think she might be more mature and smarter than me. 866-266-8898. It is the big 98.1 Loves Our Kids Radiothon.
Hi, I'm Larry Anderson from the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's help kids be kids. Call now.